All right, everyone, we are joined by Timbers head coach Martí Cifuentes. Martí, thank you for joining us and congrats on your first MLS win. Do you want to start us off with comments on the match?
Sure. Very happy. Hopefully, the first of many. Obviously, I think that we need to be happy when we win football games. So today is a night to be proud of what the guys deliver. I will say one of the things we talked with the group, it was starting the game well, and I think that we did. So it was something that I was aware before joining, but I didn't want to bring it up because as a new head coach, you never want to create issues before it happened, right? But in the first two games, we conceded first, and it's something that we wanted to correct, which I think we did today, starting the game really well. I think the level of energy that I felt in and out of possession was much better than against Chicago. And perhaps the way we approached the game, it was based on the fact that I learned a little bit as well about the team after the Chicago experience. I'm a coach that I like to press so high, but today we're playing against a team that has a very clear identity, that have been played under the same coach, I would say in a very similar way for the last couple of years. They're very good when they introduce this winger inside, they create this box in the midfield, so it creates an overload and it's very difficult to press against them. So we had to be a little bit more patient on our triggers to press, which I think we did, but at the same time, with not so much time to train, we talked with the guys about the opportunities that will come up if we could intercept, if we could regain the ball in certain areas, that it will come a lot of counters. I think the first half was good in that sense. It was very disappointing to concede in the last minute, but we said to the guys that the game was there for us to take it, and I think we did in the second half. Again, I want to reinforce against a very good team, but I think the bench impact once again was very positive. We had options, in my opinion, to score even more goals, and perhaps the only bad news today, obviously, is the injury of Brandon, and that let's see about the imaging, but hopefully, it will be. Let's see what happens, but we want to dedicate these 3 points for him.
Okay, we'll open it up to questions in the room. Alex, you want to start?
Coach, at your introductory press conference yesterday, you talked about the 3 Ps. You touched on the pressing there, but the possession, with San Diego such a possession-based team, was part of the game plan today to hit them on the counter like you guys did for your goals?
I think I learned a lot about the team and about where we are in the Chicago game because we don't have basically time to train. So since I came here, it was just about recovering and preparing the next game. But we never had the opportunity to do even one single drill to create how we really want to press and so on. Everything has been through videos. Everything has been through easy, light sessions. So it's difficult to implement the clear triggers on how we want to press. So today, instead of being perhaps more brave, if you want, in the way we wanted to press with it against Chicago, knowing that, especially in that area, San Diego is very good, we were a little bit, if you want, a little bit lower on the pitch. I think that when we press high, especially in restarts and goal kicks, we did really well. But obviously, in open game, you need to be more careful on the triggers. I think the guys did really well. I want to highlight today, I think that Jose Caicedo had a fantastic game, breaking a lot of passing lines, regaining a lot of balls, being good as well when regaining, selecting the right option. We knew, because the way they structure this in possession phase, that there will be a lot of opportunities for us to counter.
Hey, Coach, congratulations. My question is kind of based on your mentality as a coach. So when you go into the locker room, knowing you haven't had a lot of time with these guys, they just scored the equalizer. What is your approach as a coach in that moment to change things around? Because they came out of that locker room with a fire and an intensity that seemed as if they never conceded the goal.
Credit to the players. I think that against Tijuana as well, we conceded a goal and we have managed to do the comeback. Against Chicago, we conceded 2 early goals. I would say that sometimes some teams could give up and we didn't. So I think that the mental strength is there. So credit to them. It's not me doing any magic thing in the halftime. Obviously, we tried to be positive. We tried to focus on the points that we felt, that the areas that we felt that could make a difference in the second half. But the main message was that we had to win the second half, that we couldn't be disappointed because he's already gone. And this is part of my philosophy. We're going to make mistakes. Football is a game of mistakes. And usually the team that makes less mistakes is the one who wins. But you cannot be disappointed just because something happened. So credit to the players. And as I said, I think that they show a lot of mental strength.
Jeremy?
You've already shouted out Jose Caicedo saying you thought he had a fantastic game, but Cole Bassett when the team was pressing, he was sitting farther back deeper in the midfield. Just what did you think of how he played tonight?
Yeah, again, very good. I think that Cole is a very smart player. I said to him when joining that I think he will be able to score goals for us because he has this strength about getting from the second line and getting into scoring positions. I think today he hit that post. It could have been a brilliant finishing. Yeah, he was very smart today. One of the things that we noticed is that when San Diego overloads those pockets, you cannot give them that space. That's the reason why today we sit with two deeper sixes. So Cole was sitting lower with Jose, and I think that helped us to have a little better control in the pockets, perhaps a little bit less of impact to regain the ball high on the pitch. But at the end, I think it was the right decision because, again, the time with the team has been short, so I think it was the right decision.
Coach, of course, congrats on the first MLS win. You obviously have talked about in the intro presser about bringing the attacking mentality, of course. I'm just kind of curious, coming from the outside in, what are your impressions, first impressions of this squad's attack as the coach?
I'm happy. I think that we got the talent that we need to implement, perhaps according to my philosophy and my coaching style, certain things that perhaps we can establish high on the pitch for longer periods. But I think the desire is there, and obviously today we scored fantastic goals. So I think that Chris showed his quality on the first goal. David scored a fantastic goal, and then as well the whole collective, I would say, behaviors, the principles that we had in the second goal, I think were very good. So we're gonna try to keep growing, but the talent is there, and that is my job to get the best of all the players. Yeah, let's see again what happens at the end of the window. But in that sense, I'm happy with all the players.
Martí, congratulations on the win. You can't have favorites as a parent. You can't have a favorite son or kid. However, I'm curious, who has impressed you the most on the team in the last 2 weeks that you've been coaching them?
No, I said to all of them, for me now are the best players in the world, all of them, and they are my boys. So my mom was asking me, how are those guys? Are they good? And I said, for me, they are the very best. But no, I think that I got a very good impression of many players. Obviously, when a new manager comes in, new coach comes in, I think that all the players try to show that they want to get that spot in the 11, and everybody raise the level, which is great. One of the main messages that we have sent is that for me, the bench impact is key, not over one game, but over the season. So I'm someone who believes in rotation. I think that, for instance, today, Jose and Ariel, that came fresh from the Chicago game, made a big difference. I think that Ariel was very unfortunate to receive a yellow card in a situation that, for me, he already perhaps should have get a yellow card on the fullback, in my opinion. But yeah, I think that both of them were brilliant. So I'm impressed with the attitude of the guys. I'm impressed with how open they have been to all of our instructions in a very congested schedule. And from there, I think that everybody is showing a high competitive level.
We'll take questions in Spanish.
Profe, obviamente felicidades en tu segundo triunfo, porque el otro lo hiciste con Tijuana. ¿Cuál sería tu análisis en este primer partido de la MLS?
Bueno, muy contento con el equipo, porque nunca es fácil ganar partidos en ninguna competición, pero más contra un equipo como San Diego, que es un equipo que lleva 2 temporadas pues, con un mismo estilo, con un mismo entrenador y que juega muy bien al fútbol. Y la verdad es que bueno, creo que una de los asuntos pendientes o de las cosas que les pedimos al equipo hoy era empezar bien el partido, y creo que lo hicimos. Contra Tijuana y contra Chicago no tuvimos buenos inicios de partido, sobre todo contra Chicago encajamos 2 goles en solo 13 minutos, y para nosotros hoy era muy importante iniciar el partido bien. Creo que lo hicimos, nos pusimos por delante, y bueno, a pesar de que estuvimos pues bueno, descontentos por encajar un gol en un minuto tan importante, creo que el equipo respondió muy bien en la segunda parte. Sabíamos que San Diego es un equipo que basa su juego mucho en tener la posesión, en tener una superioridad en el medio campo, y creo que lo manejamos bien defensivamente, y eso nos permitió salir al contraataque muy bien. Una decisión importante y algo que aprendí del partido de Chicago es que sin tiempo apenas de entrenamiento era difícil para mí implementar la manera como queremos presionar, como queremos ser un equipo agresivo en esa presión, y creo que el equipo hoy entendió muy bien que quizá teníamos que elegir más bien esos momentos de presionar alto, pero que salimos muy bien al contraataque, y creo que pudimos meter hasta más goles. Así que contento por el resultado, contento por el rendimiento del equipo, y bueno, esperemos que sea la primera de muchas en la MLS.
Martí, en buena hora, la victoria. quisiera preguntarte acerca de cómo vino jugando el equipo hoy día. Durante las conferencias mencionaste de que te gustaba el juego de posesión de balón, presión alta y un juego bonito. Hoy día se demostró varias de esas características. ¿Qué sensación te genera haber visto ese tipo de juego hoy día?
Bueno, muy contento porque los jugadores realmente creo que están cogiendo el mensaje. Creo que hoy no era fácil contra un equipo que, como decía, tiene una identidad muy clara, pero sí que creo que nosotros mostramos cosas muy buenas y también saber adaptarnos al rival, ¿no? Que creo que es una virtud muy importante porque al final el fútbol creo que tenemos que tener una identidad muy fuerte, pero que hay una realidad también que juegas contra un rival que hace bien las cosas. Y en ese sentido, pues bueno, nosotros teníamos muy claro hoy que habían ciertos espacios, ciertas zonas que sabíamos que teníamos que atacar y ciertas zonas que San Diego ataca muy bien y que teníamos que defender bien. Y creo que en ese sentido el equipo lo hizo bien. Es verdad que San Diego también, creo que el número de disparos creo que es más alto, pero yo creo que nosotros estuvimos muy cerca de convertir más goles y creo que de hecho el resultado es algo corto. Creo que hay ocasiones como la de Cole, como la de Kevin, creo que hubieron ocasiones de sobras para ampliar el resultado.
Any last questions in the room?
Obviamente el eje central es el partido, pero ¿qué mensaje le puedes mandar a la hinchada después de esta primera victoria en MLS, sabiendo que es un día de semana, se trabaja mucho acá en Portland y se dieron un tiempo para venir a ver acá al Providence Park a los Timbers?
No, primero de todo agradecerles la bienvenida porque, bueno, intenté salir un poquito antes del partido, saludar a todo el mundo, era mi primer partido de la MLS y la verdad es que la acogida desde que llegamos ha sido excelente. Tenía muchas ganas de bueno, debutar aquí en un partido de la liga porque sé que la atmósfera es especial y la verdad que el equipo creo que respondió a ese apoyo, pero bueno, la afición ha sido increíble y hasta el minuto 95 ha estado apoyando al equipo. Los Timbers Army se quedan hasta el final y la verdad es que es un momento muy especial y creo que, bueno, espero que sea la primera de muchas victorias que le podamos dedicar a ellos.
Okay, we will wrap it there. Thanks for the time, Martí.